So, as per always, I'll start with a couple of announcements and then hop into this evening's topic. But I was just getting ready to say, I absolutely love this topic because it helped me through a very, very difficult time earlier this year. Jenna and Jamie can absolutely attest to that because I think they talked me off a ledge once or twice during that little short period. And I found this podcast and it absolutely finally made me understand myself, which was incredibly helpful. And then since then, I have dug into a ton more research on it and I've shared it with a ton of you already. I did share this podcast link, which I will tell you the title of it and everything, but I put the link in the live this morning in the group. But if you need the link to this podcast, I will get it to you because it is so, so, so helpful. But as far as announcements go, I'll go through those first. A quick announcement as far as other things go. I do have Resilient one-on-one coaching opening back up on Friday. So this Friday the 15th. The first calls will be the first week of January. It's a 12-week session. So this is like my higher level, higher intensity, not hand holding, but very specific and customized and very accountable, strong as far as that goes plan, right? So this is not necessarily for a beginner. This is for somebody who's been around for at least a little bit, who really is ready to just take it up a notch, ready to do the work, ready to say like, okay, Nikki said jump this high and I'm going to go ahead and do that, right? Like that is what this is all about. And I always give the education and the resources behind it. But when it comes to this resilient one-on-one coaching, I look at you, look at your goals, look at your struggles, and give you a game plan based on those very specific things. And then we attack it each and every week on our call. That's one-on-one. And we make adjustments. We make new plans. We go over ideas. We problem solve together to make sure that we set you up for optimal success. So it's really cool. Everybody kind of treats it differently that I take through this plan. Recently, I took a girl through it who was struggling with all kinds of hormone issues and digestive issues. And since then, we've gotten her cycle going from, 50 days in between down to like 30, 31. And she's like got a sex drive again, all kinds of good things there. We've been really, really working on that with her. Meanwhile, I had another lady go through it who was trying to fit into a dress for her daughter's wedding. We got that done and more. I've had other people go through it that are just trying to find balance and self-confidence in their lives again, and they now feel stronger and have more balance in their lives, have better relationships with food. Like, it really just depends on the individual. So that's what's so cool about it is I can really take what you want to do and we can really amplify it together. So that's opening up this Friday. If it's something that does interest you, let me know. I'm only opening it up to 5 people. So if those 5 spots fill, they'll be filled and that'll be all the more that I'm taking. I want to make sure that I give those 5 people that do sign up ample amounts of time. And I don't want to take on more than I can chew with all of our stuff with our app. And I want to make sure that I have everybody getting as much time as they need. So 5 spots only, 12 weeks long, a video call every single week with me, and then a priority texting with me throughout the whole thing. So 7 days a week, I'll get back to your texts ASAP. And then it's definitely, like I said, not hand holding. It's more for those people that are ready to dig in their heels and do the work. It is a 799 one-time payment, or if you do it through PayPal, I know you can set it up in monthly chunks if that's what you would prefer to do instead. But that will be available, like I said, on Friday. It's not going to be a public link. So if you are interested in it, please message me, get a hold of me, let me know. We'll talk through to see if it's a good fit for you at this point, and make sure that we're on the same page as far as you taking on that program. So if you're interested, know somebody that might be, let me know. We can chat through it together. But that is coming soon. The other thing I want to remind you guys, today was day 12 of the 12 days of appetizers. So don't forget about using those. Everybody's potlucks and parties and get-togethers and gatherings, all that is starting like next week, this weekend even. So grab some of those, use them up. They're really, really easy. Most of them take less than 10 minutes to throw together. Like, please utilize those. And don't forget to share my post about them too for your blackout board entry. Which also brings me to don't forget about doing your blackout board. Yesterday I tagged Jenna and Jamie in the wall sit, and so I checked that one off. So don't forget to do those things. It's super fun. It's just a good way to get people involved. Um, And then don't forget to get those turned in on my website by the end of the day on January 1st, and that will get you entered to win the prizes. Um, January 1st is going to be the first buy-in challenge, and that will be available then. It's going to be, I think we're going to call it the Lean and Mean Spring Challenge. We're still figuring out that's the official name. But it's going to be a 6-week long challenge. It's going to start January 15th to the end of February. So we'll have like a buy-in week in there or 2 weeks in there. And then we'll officially start on January 15th. There's going to be a consistency winner as well as a transformation winner. Rules will be to turn in at least a first set of pictures and body stats, as well as a week 3 pictures and body stats and a week 6 pictures and body stats. That's going to be what it takes to win. That's what that's going to look like. I'm going to have more details to come. I will tell you there's going to be specific habits and tasks that we take on. There's going to be very specific weekly focus points, like kind of homework type things, just to kind of help you really, really dig into these pieces that are going to help you earn the results that you're after. So that's going to be our first buy-in challenge that's coming. Reminder again, for our unlimited people, you guys get discount codes to get into those buy-in challenges at a cheaper price as well. So that's how that's looking. And then please keep sharing and inviting people to the group and the new platform as you see fit. If you are talking to people at holiday events or whatever, and it comes up, like feel free to bring up what we do. If it's interest of them, just give them the website, give them an invite to the group, whatever, give them my phone number. I don't care. They can text me directly. I'm good with that. I just want to help anybody and answer any questions that they have. So that is all of that stuff. As far as tonight's topic goes, one that was just like so close to my heart this year, attachment styles. I had never heard of this before listening to this podcast with Mel Robbins, and then since then I have found all kinds of different resources and information. But the podcast that I ran into was from Mel Robbins. It was from November 16th of 2022, and it was called How to Improve Any Relationship: The 4 Attachment Styles You Need to Know and Tools to Become More Secure. Needed that, right? So why is this important? We don't mind the dog boning in the background if you heard that. Apparently he's tired. But why is this important? We are talking like fitness and nutrition people, right? Well, if you're unhappy in your relationships, your friendships, your marriages, it's going to make it a lot harder to be successful and focus on your goals because you're too busy putting out fires in the relationships that you are supposed to feel comfortable in, that you're supposed to feel happy and safe in, right? If you're busy putting out those fires all the time, it's going to be really hard to focus on the things that you want to do to become healthier and a better version of you. So for me, and I've told so many of you this so many times, but if Rob and I are like in a disagreement, we're on different pages, my whole world stops. Like I cannot focus on anything. I can hardly work out. I have zero appetite. And if you know me, that is so abnormal. I'm sad all the time. And it's not even so much like that anything terrible has happened, but if we are not on the same page, I feel extremely disconnected from my rock. And that is like my whole world just kind of stops and it halts. So we process and handle things differently, and then it would cause a ton of stress for me. So if we ever do get into those disagreements, I wouldn't understand why we couldn't see eye to eye on things or react to them the same way. And this made it all make a lot more sense. So I found this podcast when he and I were actually in the middle of a disagreement. And the information actually changed my mindset within like 10 minutes of listening to the beginning of it. I was a brand new person because I finally understood myself. And I understood why I react the way that I do to things and why he reacts the way that he does to things. Neither way is wrong, neither way is right. It just made more sense so that I could understand how to manage the situation and the conflict better on my side. And that helps solve it much quicker. So there's 4 attachment styles. Secure is the one that really you should aim for. Secure is the one that is optimal, right? You're going to find yourself, these people are more confident in themselves. They are more available to form long and lasting and healthy relationships with other people. They are more likely to trust their partners and be emotionally available to help them as well. So according to the statistics, 58% of adults are mostly secure. Apparently that's not me. But I'm working on it. And so the other things, like, you wanna work towards being secure, you wanna work towards being level-headed, you wanna work towards, processing through issues more appropriately without assuming things or jumping to conclusions, and, most people are a mixture of different types of attachment styles. Most people are not just, like, all one, right? We're all a little bit insecure in some way. We're all a little bit, of everything in some way. It just depends on the problem or the situation that arises as well. Me, I fall under the category that's mostly anxious. And so anxious attachment may be seen as clingy or needy or not trusting. So this is only when I'm in a disagreement with him or with a friend, right? It doesn't have to be in my marriage. It can be with a friend too. If I am in a disagreement with a friend or in a relationship of some sort, I become very like, I need a lot of reassurance that they're not gonna leave me because I constantly you get consumed with the concern that loved ones will abandon you and seek constant reassurance that you're safe. I would always assume in the back of my mind that when we're in a disagreement, because I'll go into what he kind of is here in a second, it would go opposite of what I needed to make sure that he wasn't going anywhere, that the friend isn't going anywhere. So then suddenly I become like a stage 5 clinger and it really makes things a lot worse, let me tell you. And so it's taken me 10 years of marriage to figure this out, you guys, and it's really made a world of difference in the last few months. But there's 19% of people that like label themselves as anxious attachment. And this is if we're not in a disagreement and life is like peachy keen and great, I'm secure, right? So like I'm a mixture of anxious and secure. I'm not 100% anxious. I don't need reassurance and clinginess like 24/7. It's just when we're in the middle of a disagreement that I need to make sure like, okay, you're upset with me right now. You're not actually leaving me. Sounds great. We're on the same page. So he is more of an avoidant attachment, which is the next one. And like I said, he's a mixture of both. He's not 100% avoidant either, but he veers towards avoidant during disagreement. And then that they do is they're self-reliant and emotionally guarded. So unlikely to seek emotional comfort or understand how to comfort the other person. Right. So me, when we get in a disagreement, I need like hugs and reassurance and telling me he's not leaving me. Meanwhile, he needs space and to not speak with me for days. You could see how this leads to very bad things. And they say from all the research that I've done, they say that anxious and avoidant like people tend to end up together. And so you get into these like different types of dynamics and it's really hard to understand one another. And it was just mind blowing for me to understand. And so, like, when I would try and express a feeling to him in the middle of one of these disagreements, it would only push him deeper into overwhelm and push him further away when really he just needed a few days to process things and he would come back around. Right. So, this is true for any friendship of mine, too. Right. Like, I can even, like, tell you with Jenna and Jamie too, like, I'm super close with those 2. If I feel like one of them may be upset with me, which they never are, but I feel like if one of them are, I'm, like, reaching out, I'm like, "You okay? Are we good?" And they're like, "Yes, it's fine, life," right? And like, it's just how I am. And so that's just like, that is my attachment style, but becoming more secure with it and becoming more secure in myself and being honest with myself about this attachment style and how I react and process things is really, really helpful and important to understand so that you can see where you fall and how you process things so that you know how you can get through a conflict a lot faster and you don't put yourself through so much anxiety for so long or so much stress. Jenna, you look like you want to say something. I don't know. um, but the last one, which is not going to be very many people, but there is disorganized. And this is going to be the people that are a result of a traumatic childhood event, where growing up, like they were in the middle of some sort of like abuse or traumatic event, something like that. And it leads to them being like a mental disorder or personality disorder. So with that, it's like those are gonna be the people that, like, really want to have love and let it in, but as soon as they get it, they push it away, right? And that might mean that they went through something quite traumatic as a child. So that's not gonna be majority of people. Majority of people are going to be a mixture of anxious, avoidant, secure. So that's kind of how those fall. And they go a lot deeper in this on the podcast that I was talking about. The doctor that was on that podcast, her name is Dr. Franco. She says that you can be a mixture of more than one style, right? Like we were talking about. So you be that mixture of anxious and secure and avoidant and secure. And it really is just going to depend on who the relationship is with and the level of what the disagreement is or what it's about. And it just makes a huge difference. So me being anxiously attached or others being avoidantly attached can lead to physical health issues. So things that you can find to be an issue if you struggle with an attachment that's not secure is a lot of headaches, GI upset, stomach ulcers, overall illness, because it leads to a lot of excess stress. Me, I want to let out all of my emotion. I want to cry. I want to like write letters. I want to get words out, something. I listen to music. I do something. Avoidant people tend to just shut down and not say anything. They just bottle. And that would be Jenna. Jenna's the bottler. I'm the crier. This is why we get along so well. But like it's just like that is how that works. And if we keep all of our stress in, right? Whether we have like the anxious attachment and we don't work through it, or we have the avoidant attachment, we don't work through it, it can lead to all this bottled up stress, which leads to all those physical ailments. You can become more secure, and she goes into ways on the podcast. But things that have helped me personally to become more secure than like my anxious stuff that I usually deal with is I can really like look at a situation now and I can tell like, am I being triggered? Am I acting differently because I'm scared of something? Like, did the conversation that we had, is that going to lead to something, my worst fear, right? Like, am I just getting scared of that worst fear, or is it legitimately a possibility? Most of the time, it's just me being triggered. How is he processing things is something I've been able to really come around to too, is like, if he's pulling away or he walks away, it's not that he's leaving, it's that he needs to think. And his way of processing is away and in quiet and working. That's how he gets through it. And so I know that I can put myself in his shoes and understand his perspective a lot better now, knowing that that's what his way of doing it is. And then I can lean on other people in that time and talk to them, talk myself through it, and then make myself more secure in the situation so that when he's ready to come back and open back up, we're good to go again. Um, if you know that the other person needs space or to distract themselves while they process things, I know that they will talk to me when they're ready. I tend to write down my emotions in letter format for myself. I learned the hard way not to give those letters to the other person. Those letters are for me and me only. But if you are the type of person that needs to write your stuff down and you're dealing with somebody else who has the opposite attachment of you, keep those letters for yourself. Just get the words out so that you get the emotions out. That has been very, very therapeutic and helpful for me. But by doing that, it helps me get those feelings out without overwhelming him more. Um, he can process through his things his way. I can process through mine my way. And that way, when we do come together and have that conversation, finally, I have my thoughts very organized. It's very much like it's not a blame game. We're very much past yelling and all of that stuff. It's always conversations, but it always ends with me crying. And then he gives me a big hug and then life goes on. Right. And that's how it just goes. Um, but I think it's just really, really important to understand that, we are a mix of insecure and secure, because when things we get to talk about, it's able to tell them, you're able to tell them what you're honestly thinking about when you are able to process through it appropriately. Um, one of the things that I've been able to tell him that has helped a lot too is if we are in a disagreement, I just tell him like, hey, if you need space, cool. I need you to tell me that you're upset, but you're not leaving. I just need the reassurance like, I love you. I'm not leaving. I need time. We'll talk when I'm ready. Cool. Got it. We're good. That's what I need to hear. He knows that's what I need to hear. And now we're good on the same page and we can get through conflict a lot easier. But I think a prime point in learning about this for yourself is to understand and be able to predict and manage your emotions better and to resolve conflict a lot faster in your future. Another really great resource that I found after getting into all this was a podcast called On Attachment by Stephanie Rigg. She has a lot of excellent episodes as well, all about attachment styles. And then the better that you can understand yourself, the less stress you're going to put yourself through in the future. So that's like the biggest thing with this is trying to manage your stress, trying to manage whatever it affects it most. So that's what I got, you guys. I mean, I took all of my notes from things that I have been through, and yeah, I'm hopeful that this helps in some way for you guys too. But do you have any questions on this topic or on anything else that I can help with? All right, guys. I can let you go. If you need that link to that podcast or to the other podcast that I was talking about, just let me know and I can send that stuff to you. It is a really interesting listen, and I think it's something that can help you a lot. So have a great night, everybody, and I will chat with you later on. Bye.